Here are some progressions to use on the forehand slice. A lot of players often overlook this shot, but I think it's a really important shot to have in your toolbox. So when we're slicing, right now I'm referring to hitting backspin on the ball. So I'm making that ball spin backwards. There's a couple different ways that you can slice it. You can slice it from high to low, or you can slice it from low to high. And first I want you to start off with that low to high slice so that you just get used to the feeling of putting backspin on the ball, giving yourself a lot of margin over the net so you have a lot of success. And this is how you want to play defense, right? You want to put the ball up in the air when you're on defense to buy time and to hopefully hit the ball deep in the court. So the first thing I want you to do is just have a ball by yourself, find a continental grip for the forehand slice. And one way that you can find that is put the paddle flat like this so the face is all the way open, and then comfortably put your dominant hand on there. Right? You're typically going to be in a continental grip if you follow this procedure. What we don't want is to have our hand too much behind the paddle so that we have to bend our wrist to open the face of the paddle, because we need that face open on our forehand slice. Once you're in that continental grip, then toss a ball to yourself and see if you can make that ball spin backwards towards yourself. Nice slow swing, long arm, so I'm not just flicking it with my wrist, but I'm using the arm, and I want to feel like I'm leading with the bottom edge of the paddle first. Once you've got the feel of that, have your partner toss you a ball, and then just practice making the ball go up off your paddle with a little bit of backspin. So look at this angle back here. I have the tip of my paddle pointed at the back fence so that my wrist is in a good strong position. If I'm here, I feel like I have no power. So I take the paddle back to here. I'm standing sideways to simplify it. And then I'm coming in below the equator on the ball to make it spin backwards towards my partner, and he's gonna try to catch it. Good. So I'm just moving my arm forward and up. I'm leading with this front edge of the paddle, and I'm putting some backspin on the ball as a result. Positioning my paddle lower than the ball so that I can come up into the bottom of the ball, so it's a slight upward motion. After you've gotten that, then experiment with getting a little more distance on the ball. So I put my partner on the other side of the net. He's still going to toss it to me. I'm still going very simple, hitting below the equator on the ball, putting a little bit of backspin, trying to make it go all the way to him. When you're doing this, I want you to look at the ball that comes off your paddle and see if it's rotating backwards towards you. Once I got that, then I'll try to do that from a ready position, facing my partner, so that I practice turning and getting the paddle into that position that I just had it in. Notice again that I'm not doing anything with the wrist. So players, when they slice, they often try to slice too much initially and the ball goes nowhere. So an example of that is if I use a lot of wrist, right, the ball just doesn't go anywhere. So I want to make sure that swing is somewhat long, and I'm just leading with that edge of the paddle to create the spin. And I can keep having my partner move back as I have success, so eventually maybe he's hitting or tossing from the baseline, and I'm practicing getting even more distance on the ball. In terms of distance, if you hit it higher, it typically goes further, so just playing around with how you can hit the ball higher. So it's good to start with the more defensive slice first, because if you don't have that, it's hard to play good defense if you try to hit offensive shots from a defensive position. But once you've gotten the defensive slice, you'll still continue to use that at times, but you also want the offensive slice. And so what I mean by offensive is that your ball is traveling and starting to fall as it's crossing the net, so that it creates a low shot that is skidding on your opponent's side of the court. So this one, we're starting slightly above the ball, and our face might be a little bit more closed here. Remember, the face depends on the height of the ball. So if it's a higher ball, I'm gonna close my face a little bit. Lower ball, I'm gonna open it. And this one, we wanna come more down the back of the ball. So we're creating that backspin coming down the back rather than coming from below and hitting below the equator on the ball. So you can see two ways to get backspin, and they're slightly different. So in this one, my partner's gonna toss me the ball a little bit higher, and I'm gonna try to come down the back of the ball with more of an offensive slice. When I do this, notice that my paddle is finishing on the same side of my body, so it's not coming across here. I'll see players try this shot sometimes, and if they play it too far in front, their paddle goes way over here, and it's not the type of shot that they're trying to hit intentionally. So let that ball come back so that you feel like you're naturally just gonna stop your swing around here rather than playing it too far in front where your paddle comes across. Notice I still have that non-dominant hand on the paddle when I'm taking it back. That helps me set the paddle in the position that I want to hit this shot. And if I time the shot well, you'll notice that the ball's falling as it's crossing the net, so it's creating kind of a difficult situation for my opponent, having to play that low ball that has backspin on it.